Welcome to the Chasing Brighter podcast, the podcast created as a guide to make midlife the best life.
Are you ready to embrace the next chapter of your life with confidence and excitement? Your best life is just a listen away. Kelly, do you ever feel like you struggle with not even knowing what you like anymore?
Yes, I feel like when I do something, it's supposed to convey this euphoric feeling of happiness and joy. And then I do it and I don't.
Well, and I think I have worked, especially over the pandemic, but working with so many clients of figuring out what they even like anymore, and I joke, I love so many hobbies and I go all in. I think I could have a business where you tell me all the things that you enjoy. And in my house, I could put together a kit or a package and send you because I've gone all in on I was going to do screen printing. I had candy molds because I was going to make candy. I have all of these things that I feel like I try to do, but I also am tapped into myself where if it doesn't bring joy, I'm out then. You know what I mean? I don't have guilt over I spent this much money on it. I'm I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, I would say that I do that a lot where I do something and it brings me a lot of joy and I kind of move on from something else.
Yeah.
I feel like, in preparing to kind of talk about this topic, I feel like that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Kind of going through that. But really finding joy is the thing that it's what does that mean?
Yeah, I think
Right?
it's more important that you're trying because we talk so much in midlife, we lose ourselves and life gets full. We've got careers, caregiving, decision making, emotional labor. And it's easy to lose touch with the parts of ourselves that felt vibrant, creative, or even curious. And I know we talked in our earlier episode, about passion, finding things that you used to love. Maybe you used to love painting or hiking or dancing. But when we're stuck in survival mode, a lot of us in midlife are chauffeurs, managing everyone else.
Yes.
And we don't even know who we are anymore.
Yes. I think that's the hard part. So we want to talk about that today. We want to talk about finding your way to joy, even if it's in 10-minute pockets. So
yeah,
joy isn't a luxury. It's kind of a form of healing, reconnecting with your passions, but it doesn't have to make you selfish. It really can make you whole. And
yeah.
I even think about joy versus happiness and talking about that, meaning happiness is this kind of sustained feeling and joy are these moments. And so a lot of what we want to talk about is how to get those joyful moments. And so we're going to give you guys some tips on that.
Yeah. How to begin that
One
journey.
of the things, on that journey. So one of the things we want to talk about is, how anxiety, people pleasing, or parenting can really drown out your inner voice. And so it's really hard to hear what that is when you're constantly turning around and helping your kids or listening to what everyone else is doing. And, maybe it's trying to do everything just right, trying not to disappoint others. Maybe you're always putting your family first and you kind of think about those all things that maybe turn into habits. And we really start to kind of mute and suppress our own desires over time.
Yeah. And when we add anxiety into the mix, suddenly your choices are fear-based and not desire-based. You second guess what you want. You avoid risks. You avoid the unknown. You convince yourself you don't have time for joy. But the truth is your inner voice hasn't disappeared. It's just been buried under the noise. And I do love going back to your earlier point. One of my favorite things that we talked about in season 3 was micro joys. I love that term micro joy, and that's what you were talking about anyway. And when we think about it that, I think it sounds less overwhelming.
I totally agree with you. And I have an even better word for you. So the way to think about micro joys are glimmers, Jess.
I like
glimmers throughout the day of these little moments that really bring, I love that word glimmer. It's true. It brings this smile to your face, this feeling of happiness inside. And so, that's what we want to talk about today is how to, rediscover those and really kind of help you in your overall well-being.
Yeah, I think that we have to recognize that rediscovering our passion isn't indulgent, but it is essential for our well-being.
Yes. Yes. And so let's kind of jump into, first of all, when you think about that, those things are medicine for your nervous system. It activates various parts of your body, restores energy, builds trust, and really creates emotional resilience. Thinking about emotional resilience, we can also think about this as it's reconnecting you to what lights you up and really get you that mind and body connection. One of the things that I think about with this is that we talk a lot about practicing gratitude to lead to happiness, and you read all the books about how to get happy and you got to practice gratitude. Guess what? Joy is the same. Practicing joy is important. So this is about
Mhm.
how you can feel more alive.
Yeah, it's like passion, play, and curiosity um, are really beneficial to our overall health and well-being.
We want to talk to you guys about ways to reconnect with joy and passion. So, how do you even get started on this? I love talking about this because I think it's something that, I need to continue to spend time doing. I think our lives kind of change and our interests evolve and just opportunities to do things change, like maybe there's an art studio that opens near your neighborhood that you never knew you wanted to do, but now you want to try because it's around the corner and you don't have to walk too far.
I love a good
Tr
audit.
Yeah, I love
I
the idea of a
love to
passion
just
audit.
sit and review what did I love before all of this adulthood took over, right? Before all of these responsibilities. What made me lose track of time, as a kid or teen? Ask yourself, what have I always wanted to try but talked myself out of? Finally, you can even make a list, no judgment. Think of this like reconnecting with an old friend. So just auditing and looking at, what sparks a little bit of joy for you.
And, you really gotta put yourself out there because sometimes this is stuff that you don't wanna do, but then you start doing it and you realize it's a really fulfilling thing. So, this is the idea, though, of exploring without pressure. So, you don't need to master something to enjoy it. This is the art of just doing it and practicing it, whether it's taking a pottery class, maybe pulling out an old musical instrument like a guitar or writing if you loved writing. More mindful, I think, about the sparks, right? Not the expectations, but that spark, that glimmer that you get, and just let your curiosity guide you instead of feeling like you have to produce something.
Yeah, over the pandemic, I bought an alto saxophone and tried to reconnect with my musical self. And I had a lot of fun playing all different kinds of music. Like I did the Harry Potter theme and I was playing for a while. And that was really great to explore that creative part of myself.
I love that. I love that. And that's just a fun glimmer, right? I mean, I think about it even as listening to live music or just listening to a song sometimes, even just sort of basic things that, like, if you need these little moments, these little micro joy moments of things. So we've got our passion audit. We know we need to explore without pressure. And then the third point we want to make is to prioritize play and creativity over perfection. Just get out there and do it and have fun, let go of outcomes, let it be messy, and just give yourself permission to play.
Yeah, just like paint something, dance badly. Did another, I think I was really exploring during the pandemic. Another pandemic project I tried was watercolors. And
Oh, cool.
I don't think I bought it. I think you got Gabby. I don't know. I think it was for like a birthday. We had a little watercolor mini kit and I just started watching YouTube videos and doing it just for fun and just we were hanging them up to dry and it was just fun to kind of mess around. Like I didn't want to take a class. I didn't want it to be serious. Like it doesn't have to be this new hobby that you have, but it can be just kind of messing around for the sake of play because that's where joy lives in the messiness and not in the mastery.
I love that.
We also want to just go back to remind you that joy is a nervous system superpower. We talk a lot about the nervous system. We talk a lot about how important it is to manage our stress and engaging in things that bring us joy create safety signals for our nervous system. It lowers cortisol, which is our stress hormone. It
Mm-hmm.
boosts dopamine. It helps shift us out of the chronic stress response. Even tiny moments of joy, 10 minutes of doodling, singing in the car, daydreaming can build emotional flexibility, making you more resilient when life gets hard.
Yeah. So there is a study that showed even those little micro moments of joy can make you even more productive at work. And I almost feel like I found that with a couple of my team members where, because sometimes a lot of us feel really burnout even with work and maybe we're not enjoying it, where doing a reset even with work and having these moments of joy. I had a time where I just reconnected one-on-one with one of the guys who is working for me on a project and really just spent some time to connect with him. And I have to say that, and it was maybe a 3 to 5 minute conversation, but it totally changed our dynamic. And I feel like it even changed his mood. Just remember that it takes 60 to 90 seconds to like really reduce that cortisol. So it doesn't take
Yeah.
much for just to take those moments
Yeah.
throughout the day.
And like we've been doing this season, we want to give you a reflection prompt. Hopefully, by the end of season 4, you become a pro at journaling because journaling is so great for us. And so today we
Yes.
want to ask you these 2 questions. What's one thing you used to love that you haven't done in years? And what's stopping you from doing it this week?
So in closing, you don't need a full plan. You just need to start listening to that inner voice and think about what makes you feel more like you. And just follow that. Be curious. It's not about being productive. It's not for anyone else. You deserve a life that includes you.
Remember, joy is not frivolous, it's fuel. Let's stop waiting for life to calm down to start living. We want to celebrate your joy.
Thanks for listening today.
If you loved today's episode, share with a friend.
Are you ready to chase brighter days ahead? Subscribe to Chasing Brighter now, and let's embark on this exciting journey together.